This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. It's funny because the off season has happened so slowly and so fast at the same time. On one hand, it's happened so slowly, it feels like we've been dragging through these mock drafts and that the draft couldn't come soon enough. On the other hand, it feels like I just started doing these mock drafts. So let's get into it, man. We're going to be talking about the final mock draft for the Cleveland Browns, where the board has fallen. It's been interesting, this whole mock draft process this year, because guys like Roger Rosengarten have gone from 5th round picks in these mock draft simulators to 1st round picks in these mock draft simulators, right? Guys who are always available at 54 at the start of this process, like Kingsley Sumatia, were now top 15 picks in these simulators. Also, somebody like a Keon Coleman, who was not available in the simulators for like the first month and a half, the last couple of weeks has become available in these simulators. The draft is always a wild ride. You're always going to get a player who doesn't need to fall that falls. And the Browns have been lucky the last few years of having those players kind of fall into their lap, right? With DeJuan Jones, with Grant Delpit, with JOK, all 1st round prospects that ended up slipping to them in the 2nd round. We'll see if they get so lucky this year. But let's jump into the mock drafts. We're not going to really do anything too crazy on this one. 7 round mock. And we'll see if we're going to trade up. We'll see if we won't. Let's get into it, man. Browns enter draft. Now, the Browns pick at 54. I really don't expect the Browns to trade up in this draft. I would be shocked if the Browns decided to trade up in this draft. Been a fan. Appreciate you, Roberto. Appreciate you, Stazzy. Appreciate all you guys. Ja'Tavion Sanders is the only right pick. I don't know if you trolling. I don't know if that's Curtis. But y'all, let's get into it, man. All right, so we're at 54. And let's just look at what happened in the 10 picks before. So Zach Frazier, center, goes out. Kamari Lassiter. And then you have Jalen Polk, who goes to 47. Now, Jalen Polk is definitely somebody I think is on the Cleveland Browns radar. Appreciate you, Sean. Tyler Nubin, not really there. Adisa Isaac, I don't really think he's there. But Keon Coleman, gone at 50, right? He's been at 54 the last couple of mocks. He's not there today. Ricky Pearsall, a wide receiver I really like from Florida. Had a great Senior Bowl, not there. He went at 51. Roman Wilson, gone at 53. So it seems like there was a run on wide receivers and that there could be a run on wide receivers when we look at the teams that are drafting there. I don't really know if Philadelphia has a need at wide receiver, but they could take a wide receiver. I don't think they take 2. They took 2. Wow, they said Philadelphia's gonna take 2 wide receivers, Roman Wilson and Keon Coleman. But there could be a run here, right? Because wide receiver, this part of the draft, there could be a run. So this is what happens if there's a wide receiver run, and we're down to like Malachi Corley and Jermaine Burton, guys that you're not going to take at 54. Now, Ja'Tavion Sanders is on the board. We like Ja'Tavion Sanders. At least I like Ja'Tavion Sanders. He is somebody who can be a starting tight end. Let me pop up his stuff here. Has a good receiving grade. The run block grade is not bad, but it's not great, but you'll live with it. Athletic guy, could be a good tight end. Braden Fisk, I don't think the Browns go that direction. He's just not the type of player that they draft. He's much older than what the Browns like to go for. Karan Amagaji, it would be tough at 54. I could see them doing it. The thing that makes it difficult to project where Karan Amagaji is going to go in this draft is I just I really needed to see him in the Senior Bowl, right? Now I think the Browns have brought him in for a workout, and I think that will do numbers for him. But he's somebody who, like, I would feel much more confident about saying he would go at 54 if I got to see him in the Senior Bowl. But I just didn't get to see him in the Senior Bowl, so it's a tough spot to be in. So I don't know if I would be confident about taking him. Now, there was that run on wide receiver. Roger Rosengarten is gone there, so I already know what I'm going to find at tackle. Yeah, it's Karan and then Blake Fisher. So, like, this is a draft where you might want to move back. Nobody wants to trade back with you, though. So you're going to have to pick here. I think I would go with Karan here, right? I think it's between Jatavion and Karan Amagaji. I would go with Karan here just because I think it makes more sense for what the Browns are doing. Now, realistically, if this situation happens, there's no wide receivers, all the tackles that they like are gone, and like it's down to like Jatavion and Karan, I think the Browns trade back. I think they trade back to like 60, and they try to pick up a 4th round pick. But because and here's what the trade back would look like, right? Let's just imagine it. They would go probably down to Houston and then trade back with them and probably try to pick up 123 for that pick. Now, they're not interested in trading that pick, but that's what a trade back would look like. Because I think in this scenario, they would trade back. We're going to do 2 scenarios here. So this isn't going to be the only time I'm going to pick a 2nd round pick today. But yeah, that's what I would be thinking, but nobody wants to trade in this scenario, so we're just gonna have to go with the tackle here out of Yale. All right, so we picked there. Now we're at 85. Tez Walker's gone. Blake Fisher went. Brandon Coleman went. So you really had to take a tackle there at 54 in that scenario. Now we're at wide receiver. I mean, not wide receiver. Now we're at 85. And I think in real life, the Browns are going to trade up from 85, right? I think that that's what their move would be, is to trade up at 85. Because there are players you like that will be there at 78 and 79, like Blake Fisher, that aren't going to be there at 85. So if they felt confident that they had a trade up partner at 54, let's say I went into this draft knowing I have trades for 77, 79, and I don't have to make my pick at 54, I would have either traded back or went with Jatavion Sanders because I knew I could get Blake Fisher. But I got to make sure I leave this draft with a decent tackle, right? Just so I can have some options for next offseason. All right, let's look at wide receiver who's here. Jamari Thrash is there. I don't think they go Jamari Thrash at this point. I think they really have to like a wide receiver to take him. Ben Sinot's here for tight end. I think that would be a good move there. Honestly, I would be fine with trading back here. There's a couple guys I'm okay with taking that I don't think are going to go anytime soon. Let me see what interior is. Cooper Beebe here? Oh, if Cooper Beebe's here, I'm just taking Cooper. No, we're just going to take Coop here. And again, I always try to do the first one a little bit more straight up just because we need to see what's actually going to be there when they pick and why. Picking and just for them to sit in this draft is not going to be a great idea. 156. Who is available at 156? Let me see. Is Christian Jones still there? No, Christian Jones is gone. All right. Let's see what tight ends are available. Jaheim Bell. It's more of an H-back. I don't really see the Browns really using him. All these other tight ends can go undrafted. I don't think the Browns take Blake Corum. No, I don't think the Browns take Blake Corum at all. I don't think the Browns like this running back class. And the reason I think that is based on how they've moved in the offseason. They've brought in 2 extra running backs. They still have Pierre Strong on the roster. And I believe they have not Jerome Ford, John Kelly on the roster. So they brought in they have John Kelly, they have Pierre Strong, they brought in Nyheim Hines, they signed Donta Foreman, they already have Jerome Ford, and they also have Nick Chubb coming back from injury. That's 6 bodies. If Nick Chubb is not going to play a single down in training camp, which I anticipate, that's 5 bodies. That means that there might be room for one guy to get cut, right, in camp. And then you're going to cut the roster down to maybe 4 running backs. And those 4 running backs are undoubtedly going to be Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Donta Foreman, and probably Nyheim Hines. There's just no room for a running back here. This is my whole point. They have made it so that there's no room. And they made it so that there's no room because they have no interest to draft any running backs. Like, I think that is what they're signaling when they make all of those signings at running back in the offseason is that, hey, we're just not that interested in running backs at all in this year's draft class. So I don't think they're interested in running back. Where they could be interested, though, is linebacker. Now, none of the linebackers I like are available. Just none of them are available. But Edgerrin Cooper is somebody. Junior Colson is another name to watch out for. Those are 2 guys that I think fit the Browns profiles pretty well. Shout out to Corey Kennan for dropping that one on me. Yeah, interior's not looking great. I would say, let's go back to all. I wouldn't be surprised they just take like a corner here or something. Because they do have room for a corner. All right. Now we are down to the picks that I really don't think the Browns are going to use. So let's talk about pick 206. Let's talk about pick 227 and 243 and why the Browns are not likely to use these picks. And let's also talk about the picks that the Browns have next year, right? So if you look at the Browns have 2 7th-round picks next year and 3 6th-round picks next year. In addition to that, this year, they have a 6th round and 2 7ths. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 draft picks in the last 2 rounds of the draft. I don't believe the Browns will roster more than 1 player from all those selections, which means that to the Browns, those picks are useless. And let me be clear here. I don't think they're not going to roster anybody because there won't be anybody worth rostering at those spots. It's just the Browns are at a position where their roster's pretty set. They are a loaded team. They have a ton of veteran players. They have a ton of guys under contract. They have a ton of guys they're trying to keep under contract. The Browns are set. When you are a set team, the 6th and 7th round picks, they're lucky if they make the practice squad for a year, let alone if they make your team for the season and beyond that. So when you have this many 6th and 7th round picks, and you know that with NIL, these draft classes are going to get smaller. With NIL, these draft classes are going to get older. It doesn't make sense to hang on to those picks when you're a team like the Cleveland Browns. Now, these picks do have value to other teams that do need bodies, that do need just youth, right? Carolina, Arizona. These are teams that are rebuilding, that need the picks. They need as many picks as possible because they want to bring in as many players as cheaply as possible. So these picks right here, the last three picks we're about to make, I don't think the Browns are going to make those picks, and I don't think the Browns are likely. Like, I think these picks are disposable for the Cleveland Browns. These ones I just highlighted, these are all disposable picks. They will get rid of all of these picks for like 1 4th round pick next year. Like, because they're going to roster somebody with that 4th round pick next year. They might not roster anybody with these picks back here. I don't think they care about any of these picks. Not even a little bit. But let's get back to it. Here I'll finally take a tight end. Let's take AJ Barner. Dylan Law went. All right. If Joe Milton's sitting here at 227, he'll probably take him, right? And let's take Sundell. Hell, why not? All right. So that is the first mock draft of this. Now, this next one, I'm going to get into them trades. But, I'm not mad at it. It's not a great draft to me. You get Kiran, you get Cooper, you get Cam Hart. It's not terrible. I don't love it, but it's not terrible. All right, let's do this again. This time we're going to switch it up a little bit here. We're going to change it up. Care for positional value. I don't think teams care about that. Draft needs, let's bring this down a little bit. Randomness, let's bring this up a little bit. Let's have some fun. And then we'll have the draft speed set here. We'll start at 54. And let's get it. But this time I'm going to try to get into my trade bag, talking about all those picks that I found were disposable. Let's go. So draft going pretty normal. All right. So, ooh, man, Kingsley. If Kingsley's there at 52, I think the Browns do move up. Because, yeah, I think the Browns do move up and try to get Kingsley there. All right. So, sitting here at 54. Now, if Bo Nix is there, somebody going to want to trade with us, right? Let's see if Houston. Well, who needs a quarterback? Maybe Tampa in the future? Right. So let's sit here and let's just pick here. Fisk, Blake Corum, Edrin Cooper is there. Christian Haynes is there. Tackle, best tackle available is Kiran again. I'm thinking that the Browns will go with Kiran more than likely in this scenario. Well, let's see. What tackles are there? Actually, I think I can get a trade. Let me see if I can get a trade with. Because if I can get a trade at 70 with Washington, all right, let's see if I can get a trade at 78 with Washington. I can secure a trade at 78 with Washington. Then that changes what I do here. So let me see. 78, 85. $78, 85, and I'll give you 206. Or I can give you 227 and a seventh, 2/7 next year. Let me just get rid of those because I know I'm not going to pick anybody with that. And I can move up from 78. You like that? I think they like that. And we'll do that because they got 100. They really don't need to. Yeah. I think they want the extra picks. And then I can use 206 and 243 to move up from 156, and I have those 6-rounders too to sweeten the pot. And maybe I can try to finagle those 3 6-round picks into a 5th next year. But yeah, let's offer this trade up at 85. It's not accepted. No, I want to keep 243 because it's going to be part of my trade back strategy. Let's see here. Maybe I don't have to use 206 here, but if I use that, I'm going to keep some ammunition. All right, how about 85 and 206 for 78? All right, man, y'all would take that. Come on. All right, so we moved up 85, 206. A little bit more expensive than I wanted, but whatever. So now that I know I can get in there at 78, I'm going to go and take Ja'Tavion Sanders because I know that at least one of the tackles I like there is going to be there. Now, Roger Rosengarten's there too, so I probably would have just taken him too. But I don't think Roger's going to be there. All right, so we're back at tackle. Let's see who went here. Ruke went. Karan went. But I still got Blake Fisher there. Yeah, I could take Blake Fisher here. So I'm going to take Blake Fisher here. And now let's try to move up into the 4th round. So 156. And where do I think I can move up? Because 20 spots is heavy, especially without 206. But I do have those 6-round picks next year. So I think I can move up maybe to 127. Let me try 127 with all those picks. Where are the Texans at? 123. Okay, so they will take that. So I might be able to move up even closer here. Let me try to get 120. Oh, that's 123. So I can get 123 there. If I just get rid of those. And just 2 6-round picks next year. I don't even got to get rid of my own one. I want to keep. I want to get rid of my own one. Yeah, it's Detroit. Okay, so that trade can get me to 123. Let's see if I can get to 118. Well, actually, 116. I think Jacksonville is a little bit more likely to trade than Seattle. Let's call Jacksonville. Let's try to get to 114. They're not going to take that. Would they take it for 116? They'd be more open at 116 to do it. What if I throw in this 7th? Well, this 7th. Okay. Okay, they'll be willing to do it for that 7th. And then I still got that 6th and 7th if I want to just like move up into 160. Actually, yeah. Let's see if I get 153. 227. And I'll give you the rest of these. You don't want to do that? That's fair. All right. How about here? They really don't want to do that for whatever reason. All right. We'll just find a different trade partner for that. Okay. But for this one, y'all would do this. The 2-6. Gonna be late round 6. And my 7th round draft pick for 116 and 156. So I get to move up. Pick a good player here. All right. So I have that trade in the can. We'll see how the draft board plays out. But I have that pick right there. And the guy I have my eyes on. Okay, so Michael Hall just went. It's not just went. Damn. Let me see if I could I gotta get in there. All right, let's do this trade with Jacksonville real quick then. Why is it not accepting any of these trades? That's 75%. Okay. I changed nothing about that trade and it just got accepted. All right, so I'm up at 116 now. Yeah, he took Devondre Sweat right before me. All right, cool. Jamari Thrash still there. Kate Stover still there. Blake Jones is gone, but Christian Jones is there. That's who I'm thinking about getting right here is Christian Jones. Interior guys, Tanner Bortolini, Keegan Nelson. Nothing too interesting there on the interior side. I can go swing and get Bo Limmer later. I don't think anything's interesting there running back. No. We took a tight end, wide receiver. Nothing there. Yeah, let's just get our tackle and get out of here. Yep. It's making sure, like a Edrin Cooper, somebody's not like falling or something. No, Tommy Eichenberg is the best linebacker available. So yeah, no. I don't know if you guys are fans of Tommy Eichenberg. I am not a fan of Tommy Eichenberg. So yeah, we're gonna get our tackle and get out of here. Let's get Christian Jones. I don't have a pick till 227. I want to try to get there like 185 and see if there's a way I could sneak in there. So I could get in there at 185 and like take Bo Limmer. Are they willing to give me a fifth for this? They're willing to give me a fifth next year for that. I might just cash out and get that fifth. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Which one they first? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm out. And let me speed that up. And bam. So this one I really did for the trades, just to see what kind of trades you can get. So if the Browns wanted to move up to 78 from 85, you got that 6th round pick this year. If you throw in a 7th next year, that will sweeten the pot for you to move up a couple spots in the 7th. And I don't think that really cost the Browns much. Now, Andrew Berry probably going to find a way to be a little bit more resourceful with these picks than I can on a mock draft simulator, because he is an actual GM and has actual GM resources, whereas I am trying to negotiate with the computer. Now, for 116, I wanted to get into the 4th round. So I moved up 40 spots from 156, gave up a 7th round this year. Again, had no interest in using that pick. And then my other 2 6th round picks, the later ones, so mine's and then I believe Detroit's, the ones I didn't think are going to be worth much next year. So that got me 116. And then I got a 5th round pick next year for basically the rest of my picks. Well, my 227 and then my 6th and 7th round pick next year. And the reason, again, I do that is not going to roster anybody at 227 or in the 6th round next year, more than likely, or in the 7th round next year. Will roster somebody likely in the 5th round next year. So that's the thinking behind all of these trades and why I did all these trades. Now, honestly, if I did these trades, I would make sure that certain guys are available in specific spots where I make them. But this second mock draft was more about the trades and less about the player selection. So that's why Blake Fisher, Christian Jones are both there at 116, 178. In the real mock draft situation, in a real draft situation, I don't think I take two tackles back to back. But in this situation, it was more about making the trades to see what the Browns can do to get picks in the future or to get picks this year moved up. And look, I don't think the Browns are going to have the biggest draft class in the world this year, but that's my thoughts on this draft. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great night and even have a better day. Peace.